Hello, hello everyone. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back today with another video. And I want today's video to be a sort of zoomed out macro take on a number of, on the common denominator behind a number of micro issues that I'm hearing people bring up. I'm hearing people bring up some really terrific questions such as, how do I, how do I not get myself into, codependent relationships again? How do I not dwindle all of my time into, stalking a crush on Instagram instead of doing the creative work that I want to get done? How do I stop, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic of my life and actually like set a proper course for where I want my life to go? How do I stop distracting myself with all of the externals and really, start to focus on the big picture of my life? Or even how do I, stop, giving away my time and my energy to people who don't value it? How do I achieve being a high performer for myself instead of associating it with like, well, if I'm the only competent one in the room, then it's always going to fall on me to get things done, right? These are a number of questions that have come up lately in the repatterning parlor, and as well as in the course of the repatterning project, the 8-week course that I teach. These are some of the questions that have been coming up among our participants or among some of the members of the repatterning parlor, which is the free group that I moderate on Facebook. I should probably do my intro spiel so you know what those things are. But before I do that, I wanted to take this video in particular to address this really core macro issue that is essentially behind all of these tinier, more specific iterations of the same problem. This is an issue that's showing up in different ways in different people's lives, and it really all comes down to one thing, and I want to address that, because I believe if we really solve that macro issue, that everything else is just going to fall into place. It's not that it's really not that I'm so smart that I just have solutions to offer to everyone's tiny individualistic issues, because I don't always. There are often people who are in different lines of work than I'm in. There are often people who are in different situations that I'm not necessarily familiar with. But if you understand the bigger issue that is manifesting itself in these smaller, more specific situations, then you're always going to have that solution. And that's the bigger issue that I want to talk about today specifically. So we'll get into that. I'm going to do my spiel now, just for anyone who hasn't heard it already. In case you've stumbled on this video and you don't know who I am or what I do, my name is Arden Lee, and I'm the creator of the Repatterning Project. And that is the 8-week course that I mentioned, where our goal is to hack our beliefs, examine our patterns, and start to look at all of the things that we have made unconscious through years and years of programming and social conditioning, and start to bring those things into our conscious awareness, to bring our focus into our conscious awareness so that we can choose where we place our focus on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, because our lives end up being comprised of these small choices that we make every day, right? We've been making them out of habit so long that we forget to bring our consciousness back to actually examining everything that we're doing and where it's coming from and whether it's serving us or not, right? So anyway, that's what we do in the course, and it's been so exciting seeing people have these really amazing breakthrough moments. We're just wrapping up week 2 now, so we've got 6 more weeks to go, and it's so exciting, and we're gonna do it more in the future. So if that sounds like something that you're into, check out the description box. Check out the link I've left there to a free PDF guide to the Repatterning Project, so you can learn more about how we do what we do. And also check out the link to the free Facebook group, the Repatterning Parlor, which is where I have a a lovely free group for individuals who are interested in this kind of thing, who are, maybe thinking about signing up for the course, but, want to chill out in the free group for a while to maybe see what it's all about before they commit. So, all right, so go check those things out. Subscribe to my channel, like my page, all that good stuff. And all right, I want to talk about now this macro issue that is beneath all of these specific iterations of what is essentially the same problem. And that macro issue is our knowing of our worthiness. All right, solved. Everyone go home, right? Okay, I get it. So what does that mean? What is our knowing of our worthiness? Essentially, I had this moment tonight where I was like, I think this course, you guys, is just like how to be selfish 101, It's like we spend all of our lives getting all of this programming to do things for other people's approval, to do things to please other people, to do things in a way that conforms to society, in the way that society wants us to look, and we end up putting ourselves last a lot of the time. And this shows up in a lot of different ways, right? It is much easier, for example, to distract ourselves with dumb things that don't matter than it is to actually take that zoomed out look at our lives and look at what we're actually doing with ourselves, right? What choices are we making moment to moment that are actually comprising our entire lives? So we decide, like, well, if I just had this or if I just had that, then these feelings would go away, or then I would feel great, or whatever, right? It's so exciting. It's like a new drug, being having a new crush, and it's so much easier to go and stalk that person on Facebook and Instagram for 2 hours than it is to sit down and really start to construct, to architect the projects and the life that we want for ourselves, right? This is really not a surprise, but you'll notice with a lot of people who are quite successful, that they really don't let anything get in the way of the thing that they want to do. They are successful because they know how to prioritize themselves. They know how to put themselves first. And they know the value of their work, right? They know the value of what they're doing and that's why they value it, right? That's why they put themselves first, is because they do understand the value and what they're doing for themselves and the life that they are architecting for themselves, right? If we were to really understand our own value, then we would absolutely put our creative work ahead of 2 hours of scrolling on Instagram, right? Because we would understand how important it is for us to get our message out there. We would understand that putting ourselves and our work first, creating that container to be inspired, and this specifically, when this comes to creative work, one of the things I was talking about today is divorcing it from this notion of like, oh, I have to sit down and I have to complete this, I have to get this done, but rather creating an incubator for inspiration, right? Because especially with our work, and especially when our work is creative, the metaphor I used tonight on one of our talks was, I could sit down, and if you asked me to write out like the lyrics to 10 songs, I could easily fill in those blanks, right? I could have a whole album written tonight, but it probably wouldn't be very good because it's not full of those moments of inspiration. So what I'm really looking for is I'm looking to create that container where I can be inspired. That thing where I say, I shut my phone off. I take my time, I light my candles around the room or whatever. I play the kind of music that inspires me. I immerse myself in all the things that I'm looking to build upon, to create more of. I think back sometimes to this incident in late 2015. There was a video of Jared Leto that was leaked from his home studio, and it was leaked without his consent. So I hate kind of like revisiting that because it was really not a nice thing of the person to do. But they were filming him listening to Taylor Swift's new album, new at the time, and going through the tracks and deciding what inspired him and what didn't. And that was never meant for anyone to see because he's saying some private things about what doesn't inspire him or what does, that he didn't mean to be a public critique of Taylor Swift's work. But what I loved about witnessing that moment was, as an artist, he gave himself this time in this container to say, let me see what else is new. Let me see what's happening out there. I want to create this container for inspiration, and I'm going to start just playing and listening to any of the things that I think might inspire me. Okay, no, I don't like this. I don't like this. All right, this one's pretty cool. Let me listen to this one. Oh, that's interesting, right? He's not saying like, oh my God, I have to sit down and get this work done. He's saying, how can I put myself in an environment where I can be inspired, right? And I think it's very much a testament, if you look at Jared Leto and his career, he's someone who, who he's very transparent about the fact that he grew up in rural Louisiana on food stamps, and now he's an Academy Award winning actor. And it's precisely his ability to prioritize himself that has helped him to get to where he is today and to bring in that much success, to go and looking at that habit that he has of saying like, all right, it's time for me to write a new 30 Seconds to Mars album. Let me sit down with anything that might inspire me. And you can bet that he's not like, going through his phone at the beck and call of a million people who want things from him, because in that time, in that container, he's certainly not worried about who he's dating, I'm sure, in that time, in that container, nothing is more important to him than focusing on himself and his next creative project, because he's able to prioritize himself and his time, right? So I'll give you another example of this. If you understand the value of your work, you will start to be much more discerning about who you give it away to for free. There is a woman who shared a story, and I want to say that she had a career in writing or in publishing. She was always getting these requests from people who were like, hey, can I pick your brain? Can I buy you a coffee or whatever, which is, anyone who knows who, works in a creative field knows how annoying it is to get a million people wanting to like pick your brain about a million things. And it's, we're not going to ever be able to change the people who are like that, who don't have the self-awareness to know. I mean, it's great to put it out in the culture and say, hey, yes, pay people for their time, but there's just always going to be people who bombard us with those questions. Ultimately, it's up to us to set our own boundaries. So what this woman finally did is she said, you know what? I want to feel like I want to be able to help everyone. And I really do like mentoring people who take it seriously. But too often, if I've tried to get coffee with someone, or I said they could pick my brain, they flake, they don't show up, or sometimes they just take it for granted. They, no one's listening or whatever. So she came up with a solution that I find really brilliant. And she said, anytime someone says, can I pick your brain or can I take you to lunch and, get your opinion or get your feedback on something, she now says, yes, I have one spot available, and it's at 7 a.m. Friday morning. And every single week, 7 a.m. Friday morning, that's the time that I will dedicate to mentoring someone. And she describes about how, people came back and were like, oh, do you have another time instead? Can you do this? Nope, 7 a.m. Friday morning, because if you really want to make it work, you will be awake, you will be out of bed, you will get up that hour early to take my advice. And she said in all of her career, since she started implementing that policy, she's only had one person actually take her up on it, right? And that one person, I'm sure, really valued that hour of her time and went and did some really good things in the world with it, right? As a coach, I'm someone who helps people talk through their issues literally for a living. The action steps and the advice that I give for people to implement, to immediately take actionable steps that will bring their lives closer to what they want it to look like. That is what I do. That is what I do. So when I get people asking to pick my brain, or who just have a question or here or there, one thing I'll do is I'll say, well, if you want to just give me a general topic, I'm happy to make a video about it, because then it helps everybody. It helps me, right? It helps you. It helps whoever. And oftentimes, people are very willing to do that. So that's a great way of me saying, I know that my work has value, and if you want my time, then you have to let everybody learn from it. So that way, we don't waste our time here. We have to, we want to let everyone learn, but in other instances, I've had, when I was still on that sort of journey to understanding my own worthiness, and this is maybe a point at which it was really hammered home for me, the way that I was growing. When I had, there was someone who wanted, some advice on her love life from me or whatever. And, we went to the same party. So I was like, all right, well, I'll be willing to meet you there like a little bit earlier, and we can chat for 20 minutes or whatever. And the night of, sure enough, she was like, hey, what time are you? I'm almost there. Or what are you? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, did you want this or not? So sure enough, I'm there at the party. and she shows up, and it's basically too late for us to create any kind of a meaningful container to actually discuss what she wants to discuss. And I said, listen, this is what I do for a living, and I made you some time tonight, but you kept saying, you didn't know when you were going to be there. It was kind of all over the place, and here I am now, and I don't know what to tell you, but now we don't have time for it, and this is something I take seriously. So if you're not here showing up for yourself, then I can't show up for you either. And that for me was a real moment in like, okay, wow, yeah, if someone is being flaky, or if I've agreed to help someone and they don't take me up on that, then I'm not I'm not going to go out of my way any longer. And not only am I not going to go out of my way any longer, but in the future, I'm going to set up very specific times and places to speak, where it's going to be like, okay, at this time, and you'll get this amount of time, and that's the time that I'm giving you, or whatever, if I choose to help a friend like that. If someone is being flaky on my boundaries, or flaky with when they're showing up so that I can help them, then they're not someone who is recognizing the value of what I do, and I probably don't want to be helping that person. I want to help the person who, it doesn't matter if they're paying me for it, if they're bartering for it, or if they're just someone who I know is listening and taking it seriously and is going to pay it forward in the world, right? I have no problem with if there's someone who I really feel inspired to help, because I see the work that they're doing, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give you 20 minutes of my time because I think that you're going to take this and use it in a really productive way, and I feel called, I feel inspired to help you, then absolutely. But that person has to receive, right? They have to receive it. I said tonight, we are giving, but we are giving with gravitas, right? We give with a knowing of the value of our worth, right? And we expect our receivers to receive with gravitas as well. When I say gravitas, it means it's heavy. It has weight. It has value, right? So the more and more we tune into the value of the things that we are doing, the less and less likely we are to allow ourselves to be drained by outside requests, by people who want to come in and they maybe have a different agenda for us, for people who want us to get into codependent relationships with them. Really, the macro solution to all of these tiny issues is to be on fire with your purpose, to be so driven by the thing that you are creating for yourself in your own life that absolutely nothing can take you away from that. And then if it does take you away from that, then it's that 20-minute container at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning that you have decided, okay, this is important enough that I will pause what I am doing and I will give you 20 minutes of my time, or whatever it is. But if you know, and if you feel how valuable that container is that you are giving, then other people are likely to feel that as well. It's when you get pulled off center, when you drop everything that you're doing and you feel obligated to people please, when you feel obligated to seek other people's approval, when you're putting all of those things above your own fire and your own drive and your own purpose, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up feeling drained. You're going to end up getting into codependent relationships. You're going to be focusing on a million distractions that aren't the thing that you want to create. So really the macro solution here is to be in your knowing of your worthiness. And when I say your worthiness, I mean, of course, you as a person, but also how important your work is and how important it is to you, how important it is to the world, certainly, but also how important it is to you that you prioritize yourself, because you are absolutely worthy of your own prioritization. And if you don't prioritize yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. There's going to be no one who's going to come along who's going to say, hey, Arden, I think you should take some time to turn your phone off and listen to some things that are going to inspire you for your next album, right? No one's going to do that for me. Right? Or if they did, if they did, that wouldn't be healthy for them either, because then they're trying to help me with my issues and they're probably not doing theirs, right? Then they'd be in a codependent relationship with me, thinking that for some reason that they've got to make my success happen because they're gonna, that somehow is gonna make them benefit. I don't know. That would be weird. It would be weird, right? It would be weird if anyone else did. Unless they were someone like a producer or a record label who is investing in me as an artist because they're getting something bigger out of that, right? If I had a producer at a record label who was like, all right, Arden, take your time to set yourself up with that time to really get inspired, right? Jared Leto style, and start listening to things that are going to inspire your next songs that you're going to write, that would be one thing, because they would be invested in me because I'm creating something that is making something for their label. That's the only situation that I could think of where that would be appropriate. Or if it's a coach that I'm paying, right? If it's a coach that I'm paying and they're like, you need to do this for yourself, then that's, that would also, but there's also that energetic exchange, right? So it's really important for us to value ourselves first, right? Or, if you need to hire a coach and help you do that, then you're valuing yourself by investing in a coach who's going to help you to value yourself, right? It's all kind of mirrors back. But ultimately, saying, no, I come first, and the things that I prioritize are the most important because I am worthy of that. And my work is worthy of it, and my work is worthy of my time. The value of work is worthy, the value of my work is worthy of my time. And therefore, my time is also valuable because my time is my work. My time is my purpose, right? It doesn't even matter if it's work or if it's your soul mission, if it's your, whatever that thing is that you feel called to do in the world, that is the thing that you want to prioritize. But if you're prioritizing everyone else's opinions about you and your behavior and what their needs from you, then that's not going to work out very well. And you are the only one who can do this. And all roads lead back to this problem, right? All roads lead back to this macro issue of us just being able to value ourselves and prioritize our time and wanting the thing that we want more than we want all the stupid bullshit that we don't really want, right? Wanting our success, wanting our creative fulfillment, wanting our happiness, wanting our purpose and our drive more than we want, to go stalking a new crush on Instagram, more than we even want that crush to even like us, right? More than we want, the people that we work with to think that we're agreeable, more than we want, whatever it is that we're trading off our time and our value for, piece by piece by piece, right? Collect all those pieces back, plug up all those leaks, and all of a sudden you will have all of this bandwidth, all of this space, right, to sit and be inspired and know what you want to do with your time and know where you're focusing your time, right? All right, you guys. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video.